VCDL welcomes all of you to the 21st annual Lobby Day. 21st. We started in 2003. And we appreciate everyone who's turned out this cold day. Of course, it wasn't as cold as it was in 2020. By the way, when that flight's on the cruise plane in 2020. And we appreciate you coming out to help us with this fight to protect our Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, the right our founding fathers saw as sacrosanct and uninfringible, but yet here we are, supposed to be uninfringible. Tyranny never sleeps, and those who wish to control us desperately need to disarm us so they can make their dark vision of a future America a reality. We dare not let them succeed. With 100 million gun owners in America, we are 50 times larger than the largest army in the world. And that has kept the tyrants at bay in this country. Our country is the last bright beacon of freedom in the world. And there are those that want to extinguish that light to create a one world government where civil rights don't exist. Is that the world you want your children and their children to live in? The Democrat gun controllers in the General Assembly are attacking a basic civil right that all humans possess at birth, the right to self-defense. A civil right that was denied to Martin Luther King Jr. in a Democrat-controlled Alabama in 1956. Then Montgomery, Alabama Sheriff Maxwell Sin Butler refused to give King a concealed handgun permit, even after King's house had been bombed. If that doesn't give you a reason, I don't know what does. And he had other government against it. But the sheriff would not give him a concealed carry permit. Right to keep their arms and civil rights so important that our founding fathers enshrined it and protected it in our Constitution. It allows the free people to dissolve a government turned tyrannical and restore it to a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And which is controlled once again by the Constitution. We pray that it will never come to that, and we are trying to avoid that situation by lobbying our elected representatives and legislators to live up to their sworn oath to protect and defend the Constitution.
So not only do we warrant a drone, but we get helicopters.
And we'll start with the first one. This is Erich Pratt. America, an organization that we have been partners with VCDL since our inception back in 1994. GOA let us use their copier machine and everything.
Can you take pictures around and send them to me? Yeah. No, I'm not going to post them. I'm streaming.
Yeah. Thank you, Phil. Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? This is a great day for liberty, isn't it? Thank you for being here, everybody. Again, my name is Erich Pratt, Senior Vice President of Gun Owners of America, and we are your no-compromise voice in the nation's capital. We are fighting in the courts.
So not only do we warrant a drone, but we got helicopters.
Oh, yeah.
For what?
By the way,
yeah.
what a great organization. There's another drone over there.
Well, if they didn't disarm us, they wouldn't need all that shit.
This is why the Second Amendment is so important. It is the right which protects all the other rights. And
Jared, you met my husband, right?
We cannot compromise.
Steve Webb, Jared Yanis.
Not even a little gun control light. Thank you. We cannot compromise because every new compromise becomes the starting point for the next set of calls for gun control. Well, look, you all know, what does the Second Amendment say? Help me out. Shall not be infringed. It doesn't say that you can have a background check or a waiting period. It doesn't say that you can have gun-free zones or require a license before you can carry. It doesn't say that you can have an NFA that regulates suppressors and SPRs. And you want to know why? Because our rights do not come from government, they come from God. You know, that's what our Declaration of Independence says. But we have a president who doesn't understand this. Remember when he said that he can ban some of our rifles because, after all, there's deer out there that don't wear Kevlar. Seriously, I mean, the Second Amendment is not about deer hunting. It's never been about hunting. And besides,
See the tan stocking cap over here? That's Jim Snyder. The guy in the tan stocking cap is Jim Snyder, the vice president of VCDL. Right there.
The Second
Plaid
Amendment
shirt.
is all about preservation of liberty against a tyrannical government. That's what it's about. Folks, this wasn't theoretical for the founders. They lived this, and we've seen this in recent months, haven't we? We've seen unarmed people in Israel. We've seen unarmed people in Nigeria who have been massacred. They were disarmed first, and that left them open to terrorist attacks. So you would think that some of the politicians in this country would learn a lesson from that. But no. Instead, you hear politicians openly talking about confiscating firearms. In New York, the governor has said that she wants to take us back to muskets. Other politicians have talked about Mr. and Mrs. America, turn in your guns. But look, here's the truth that you can hang your hat on. A government that fears your guns is a government that cannot be trusted. The good news is there are people who are fighting back. Gun Owners of America is fighting back, and we're winning battles here in Virginia. We're winning battles all over the country. And if you're not seeing these victories, make sure that you've signed up for our email alerts. They're free. Go to gunowners.org. And that is very important because that's where we're alerting and
I told
mobilizing
Dan
people to
Wos
what's
that he
happening.
could sell
How
some of his
many of
books
you
in the
last
conference
year,
room down there after the thing. He's going to mention it when he talks.
you could rest easy knowing
Get
that
the
your
word out.
pistol-raised firearms were safe and secure. Yeah? That's because GOA secured an injunction against the ATF so that our members did not have to register or destroy their firearms. But that's not all. Our legal team has filed dozens of lawsuits around the country, and we've secured victories against gun control laws in a lot of blue states. States like California and Illinois, New Mexico, New York, Oregon. And oh yeah, here in Virginia, GOA and VCDL have teamed up to repeal gun bans in parks in Winchester. We filed a suit together on Friday in Roanoke for the same thing. So we're kicking butt at the state level too.
Good to see you.
In
What is your
Congress, our
minimum
team of
age?
lobbyists uncovered an attempt
The girl in a
recently
gun?
to hijack a national defense bill
For
that
people
had
to
gun
come and learn to
control
shoot and
inserted
stuff?
in it. But GOA
Do you have a
won the
minimum
lone
age?
battle at the national level to get that huge gun ban removed
I don't
from the
know.
bill.
What about a
We also
14-year-old that
fought
wants to learn?
overturn Biden's ban on funding for hunter
Just shoot it for
education
now.
and shooting
But
sports in
her
the
dad
schools.
wants it to sign her up
I
for a
want you to hear
woman-led
this.
shooting
Hunters,
class.
do you think that they're going to leave your hunting guns alone? No, they are coming after you too. I mean, they've already told us they want to return us to muskets. This is just
I don't
another
know.
reason that we
I don't know what
cannot
your rules are.
compromise and why we must all hang together, or as Benjamin Franklin said,
Mine learned
we
it
will all
too,
hang
so
separate. Thankfully, we've been able to hand out massive defeats to Chuck Schumer and his fellow gun
I
grabbers.
told him to look
And
y'all
we've
up.
done this with the help of grassroots activists, which is why it is imperative that we all stay vigilant, that you sign up for those alerts, that you keep taking action on those alerts.
I've seen a couple,
And
I think.
hopefully that you'll continue supporting GOA and VCDL because we want to keep suing the ATF and winning in the courts. So let me just end it here. Let me say thank you all for being here today. Thank you for staying in the battle for our rights. This is very important, not just for us, it's important for our children and our grandchildren as well. So thank you for being here. Let's keep up the battle.
A little shorter than he is. Next speaker will be Cam Edwards with Cam and Company. Cam has been on the forefront of gun rights and reporting on that issue for many, many years. And he's another fellow Virginian from Harvard.
Yep, I think so. Thank you guys for showing up today. I don't know about you, but frankly, there are a lot of other places I'd rather be than here today. But we are here because the majority in the state legislature has decided that we are a problem that needs to be solved this session. You know, some of the bills that have been filed this year would take us backwards in this state. What is the problem with concealed carry holders, for instance, carrying in a restaurant to a job almost served? Is there a problem that the majority in response to this bill can point to? No. Our commonly owned firearms, our magazines that can hold more than 10 rounds, they've never hurt anybody. Are they a problem that needs to be solved? Are these 700,000 Virginians who are exercising their right not just to keep arms in their home but to bear arms in public a problem that needs to be solved? Well, I'm all in agreement about that. Too bad we're not the majority inside that building. Yeah, there are some real problems in this state. Last year, it's estimated 2,400 Virginians died of a fatal drug overdose. That is more than every gun-involved homicide, suicide, accident, every traffic fatality, every hit and run combined. That's a problem, would you say?
Yep.
And yet, what was the very first bill, or the second bill that we filed this session in the House? A bill to ban so-called assault weapons, right? Not to go after the drug dealers who are flooding our communities with illegal drugs, who are killing our sons and daughters. No. They took aim at us, at you and I, lawful gun owners, people who still believe in the system. You know, I've heard so many anti-gunners say that we're anti-government. If we were anti-government, we wouldn't be here today. We are here because we believe in the political process. We believe in a representative democracy. We believe in a representative republic. But we want our elected officials to listen to us and to believe in us.
I got it.
See us as a problem. We've got another problem in this state. The lawmakers decided to really want to pay much attention to. They're talking about expanding Virginia's red flag law. Suppose this is going to help our mental health system. There's nothing in a red flag law that has anything to do with mental health. Those words do not appear. According to the geniuses that came up with the red flag law, if somebody is a danger to themselves or others, what we need to do is take their guns away and then leave them alone. What sense does that make? At the same time, they're trying to expand our red flag law. Our mental health system is crumbling. We just had a report come out a couple months ago that talks about mental health care called the Death Class Report. If you got somebody with a psychiatric crisis and there is not a private bed to take them, will the state hospital take them? So we're running at 100% capacity in our state-run mental hospitals. We've got people who are in crisis who can't find a medicine. They're sitting either in an ER 24, 40 hours with insurance next to them, or they're stuck in a jail cell. It's not getting the treatment that they need. That seems like a problem to me.
Probably. Philip will step
And
in and
yet,
cut him off.
again,
He gave each of them a time limit.
We're the problem. We're the issue.
I didn't think you could carry your
Let me
gun.
politely
You
say,
can't. Why?
Everybody's carrying guns.
they're the problem.
Pepper
and they
ball
think
guns.
We're the problem.
Pepper ball guns.
Really?
Are they in the square with rifles?
You know, you heard Pratt talk about the lawsuits that are being filed around the country. I cover these on Cam and Company every day, Barry and Orange.
Where do you see them?
Just in case.
But
Where do
also
you see
talk
them?
about and cover the civil
Where I
disobedience
saw
that we're seeing around the country.
Okay.
In Illinois, for example, we're about 5% of estimated gun owners
Push the envelope.
registered their
Push the
guns with the
envelope.
state. sheriffs in California
Open defiance.
who said, we're not going to enforce these
We'll
guns.
see if they prosecute.
The gun control groups have to understand that what they are doing is attack on our fundamentals. Yes, we will see this in court. Yes, we will show up in this legislation. And that means that we face arrest. That means we face jail time. Using the constitutional law that strip us of our fundamental civil liberties. Yes, so be it. Yeah. I will say, I'm not concerned about that. I'm here county evidence here. They're asking. Well, shooting here is well, it always already skates at 11 p.m. Anything else? Don't be more than But you know,
Some of them are press. So, Matt,
cancer patient, she's got to leave her gun in her car rather than walk. It doesn't. They think we're the problem. So, again, I wish we didn't have to.
nope.
Office.
Yeah.
Been a voice in the gun rights movement for a while.
Pay the form, keep it, and they have to fill out a new form. If they've already signed it, if they haven't signed it yet, then they can keep their answers until they sign it. Some of them make you wait 30 days.
Cannot find anything in Virginia in registration.
Have you met Steve?
Fathers never intended for the government.
Steve Webb, my husband, John Pierce, he's that guy.
So we have all these laws that you're trying to push. We have to keep pushing back, and you guys are doing a fantastic job. And if you can keep up the fight, see,
Yes.
our
My
founding
sister
fathers,
greatly
they
appreciated
wrote
it
the
too.
Second Amendment because they knew that there would be people like this coming over 200 years away. And I just proud to be here from New York State to see the fight that you have in you. Like I said, I was here a few years ago, and I was astonished. I was amazed. I couldn't believe it. That people would actually stand up in force and stand up for their human rights that some people are trying to take away. So I commend you, I applaud you, and I just hope that you never give up this thing. What you do here in Virginia reflects across the country. And we need more groups and more people like you. So hats off to you. Thank you very much for doing what you're doing. And we truly, truly appreciate the fight that you give. Thank you very much.
Did you not mention your books? Maybe I'm.
Okay. We have been learning for a while that there are small lawsuits coming. There's a lot of ways we fight back. And we fight back in the General Assembly, Chamber of Change, approved chapter homeowners. But sometimes you have to hurt people. There's no way around it.
2 drones and I think 3 helicopters. Yeah.
John Pierce, one of our board members.
Okay. Okay.
Today, took time out of their busy schedule and came here today to let their voices be heard. To brave the weather, we've got bad weather across various parts of the state. People are still here, and you are the people.
Apparently.
Who find a place to
Okay.
stand and defending our rights. I appreciate the trust that everyone is here. As Philip said,
Nick.
currently there's 2 attorneys that are on the board of VCDL. There's
Okay.
myself, and then there's Gilbert.
How much time do you want me to take?
Gilbert is the firm that has filed the 2 suits I'm going to talk about briefly. Erich has spoken about them a little bit earlier.
Okay.
A little bit more detail. It would have been nice if Gilbert were here today to speak about these cases
Okay.
directly since Mr. is handling them. He's getting ready to welcome a new member of his family, so.
All right.
I wish him
The
congratulations.
live stream is not going very well.
And,
It is what it
let's
is.
talk about the cases that we've got going on. First of all, there was a case that was filed sometime back in Winchester, specifically addressing parks and permitted events. And at this point, we have actually gotten a positive ruling in that case, a preliminary injunction against enforcement of that rule. And so that is a ruling that is going to roll over into the Roanoke case, which has very similar issues. And why are these lawsuits against these individual cities
I
so
gotta walk in
important?
circulation in my knees from standing too long.
List of outrageous gun control bills that are in front of the legislature. Are they insane? Yes. The legislature is coming whole hog at us and proposing things that are so blatantly unconstitutional. It's not even funny. And if they get the numbers to pass them, that's why we have the separation of powers that we have in our republic. The legislature passes the laws, but the judiciary then has the ability to review the laws and determine their constitutionality. And that is why it is so important, from my perspective as an attorney, that we fight these individual battles and let it be known that if laws are
Send those to me, please.
make it past the legislature, and God forbid they make it past the governor. And we're hoping that that will not happen and that your voices will rise up and be heard. If it does, VCDL will be there, along with the other people that are helping us, GOA, U.S. Law Shield helping with the lawsuits, and the other groups that have helped us file these suits will be there in the courts to challenge it. But going back to the two suits that were filed last week, after the preliminary injunction in Winchester regarding the ban in parks and permitted events, we filed a similar lawsuit in Roanoke. They had a ban on parks and in areas adjacent to permitted events that we challenged under similar bases. And that one was filed by VCDL and GOA. And then in Winchester, there were two.
Do you want me to move my hat?
VCDL and GOA are supporting the case, but it was filed by two individual plaintiffs. And those individual plaintiffs are challenging the ban in parking garages, city-owned parking garages. The city is arguing that they're in fact sensitive places, but in fact there have been criminal acts committed in there, so rather egregious criminal acts committed in there, including a
Can you hold
machete
these while
attack,
I go
believe,
and
about a
speak?
year and a half ago.
Can you hold these while I go up and
So,
speak?
the
Please.
argument being that it's not a sensitive place if there is no additional security, if there's no other ability for the citizens who are using the parking garage to protect themselves. So those are the challenges that are going on right now. And I fully anticipate that we will continue to file suits in the court should other legislation get passed so that we can get rulings that will roll back some of these things. And I would encourage everyone to think about supporting VCDL in this effort.
If he doesn't have something prepared,
that we use for these kinds of things. Occasionally I'll get people to contact me about estate planning.
right.
And they will ask me if there's any way that they
I had planned on working that in.
to VCDL specifically for legal challenges. And of course, we would love to speak with you about that. Thank you all for taking a few minutes to listen to rather dry judicial information. Thank you again for coming out. So, next is our secretary, our treasurer. I don't know how she possibly pulled off everything that she does in that. I don't know. I think there's a clone. I think she's got a twin that she never told me about. But it's Patricia Webb. She's going to be talking about a few different things. Our new academy.
Hello, everybody. Again, I didn't hear you. Hello, everybody. Why are we here? Because guns save lives. All together, one more time. Guns save lives. And that's a message that those people up in that building, some of them didn't get. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over again and expecting different results. We've seen that gun bans cost lives. We need to get that message to the people in the building. So 250 years almost ago, 248 years ago, a great experiment was begun in this nation. A government by the people, for the people, and of the people. But that only works if the people get involved with their government. So thank you guys for being here and being involved. It's a cold day in January. It's a holiday. You could be doing other things. I wanted to be at the range personally. But here we are, being a part of our government process. You guys are the reason that VCDL has been called the premier grassroots organization, not just in Virginia, but we've been accused of that in the whole country. And that is because of you. So give yourselves a pat on the back. You can tell I'm Southern with that y'all in there. And talk to your friends and neighbors. Let them know that their Second Amendment right, whether they choose to own guns or not, that right is the right that guarantees their freedom of speech, freedom of religion, all of the other freedoms that they enjoy are here today because we have the right to keep and bear arms. That's what keeps the people in that building in check and the people on Capitol Hill in check. Sadly, a lot of people think that the Second Amendment is outdated. And because of that, because they're teaching that in some of our school systems, VCDL has started a program called the VCDL Academy. It is geared towards younger people, but also encompasses education for people of all ages and focuses on the history and the relevance of the Second Amendment. And if that sounds like something you want to get involved in and learn more about, go on our website and look up the Academy. The Academy can use funding. The educational programs cost money. And VCDL doesn't like to ask for money, but I'm the treasurer, so it's my job. I don't like to do it either. But the truth is, all of these lawsuits that we file, all of the educational programs that we do, and even events like Lobby Day and the dinners, they all cost money. And your membership dues help a lot, but mostly we rely on contributions. So we thank you for your generosity and we thank you for your time. And most of all, we thank you for your activism. Because without you, we would not have a government, come on with me, for the people, of the people, and by the people. So we all know that guns save lives. Thank you.
We do have some people that do remote things for VCDL that have actually moved out of state that remain active.
Thanks.
We have one that came in all the way from Idaho to be here for this event. He said he'd be back every year. He has been. He moved up there last year. But this is Brendan Moody. He's one of our executive members, and she's statewide coordinator for our gun show.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm gonna tell you, it's pretty warm out here. My wife said it's 14 below yesterday. So, y'all, I don't know why you guys are wearing things that make you seem more ain't that bad. Hey, so I really want to say thank you for everyone who took the time to show up. And you know, I know it's a joke. I was at
there's a customer walked in and said, "Oh, I don't know if I can go out there." Like, yeah, no, it's really tough. I took half my PTO, paid my own way, rented a car, and flew halfway across the country. But I know that maybe missing an hour of work is a little bit of an excuse for some. So hey, I get it. I understand your trouble. So you guys don't recognize me from the Tidewater area. We really got the second member sanctuary city off the bat here, and we really are just I'm so proud that this organization we are a team. There is no me in this organization. It is all a team. That's what I really love. And I'm going to be here every year. Every year I'm going to be here. Rain, sunshine, or you guys call this snow? It's not snow. So I want you guys to also one big key takeaway. Have hope. All right. They can try and pass whatever they try and do. We all know that we win in the end. We do win in the end. The Second Amendment is pretty darn clear. And our Creator gave us those rights to be able to defend ourselves anytime, anywhere, in any way we need to. So make sure we are sitting there. We have the ability of the pen right now. Let's not turn to the sword. We need to make sure we keep that pen sharp, right? And we need to make sure we're lobbying. There are Democrats out there that could definitely be talked to and be convinced off the ledge. So why don't we go find those friendly people and go talk to them? The thing is, guns do something. I think guns save lives, right? Guns save lives. All right, guys. Hey, thank you all.
I have some, but I never stuck to it.
Did a good job.
Wish more people had been able to take off today than here, Sam and all of us here. What do I do? Next speaker is somebody that is, again, another person that's on top of breaking gun news across the country. He's got 600,000 people that follow him on YouTube, and that's other channels. They also have big numbers following him. He was a policeman in Massachusetts and recently moved to the free state of Tennessee, just across the border from Bristol. So he's right next to Virginia, but he's in Tennessee. So next I'd like to introduce Jared Yanis with Guns and Gadgets.
Y'all hear me? I can't hear you. So I had to get my hat and gloves on to do a challenge. So this is and I rewrote this speech as I woke up today, and I had my account suspended for telling the truth and showing experience things on Facebook. So I rewrote this speech with a little bit of anger, there's a little bit of bite to it, and I'm going to need you guys to get involved. First off, thank you to Phil and the entire VCDL team for having me back here. Thank you to the other speakers, and thank you to the delegates that are here. By us being here at the Virginia State Capitol sends a message. And believe me when I tell you that the rest of the country's eyes are on you right now. Like I mentioned, I rewrote the speech again today. It was actually the fourth time I rewrote it in the last 3 days. But first, let's make some noise. If you were here at a previous lobby day, make some noise. If you're going to be here next year's lobby day, make some noise. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is make enough noise when they hear you in that building, and the governor hears you over there, they hear you in the Capitol, and all the cops surrounding us, and all the drones and the helicopters hear us. USA! 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 Y'all, boy, do I feel safe when I walk past those signs that ban guns here. For some reason, they don't like Berettas. Berettas are firecrackers, but I feel really, really safe here. And that's what got me banned on Facebook this morning. So it's funny to me that the United States Supreme Court, not too long ago, said that in order for any government restriction or infringement on the Second Amendment, for anything to stand, it must be consistent with this nation's history on firearm regulation.
Do you want to meet Nick Freitas? Do you want to meet Nick Freitas?
Show me somewhere in the Constitution.
He's not going to stick around, so if you want to meet him, go now.
And make our rights go away on this ground here. Anybody? No. That's unconstitutional. That's why we're here. Because people in those buildings think they know more than you. They think they can
control you.
Hey Nick, I wanted you to meet my husband, Steve Webb, Nick Freitas. Just like your wife backs up what you do, he's the person behind me. So
For some reason,
we appreciate everything you do. And I did get a chance to say earlier.
no more. 24 is a different year, y'all. Over the last 3 days, I've traveled the state in search of motivation on what I wanted to say to you guys today. And I figured I want to talk about motivation, determination, and solidarity.
I don't know if you saw the bio I put about the speakers on your website, but I said I think you hold the record for the delegate that went viral the most times on social media.
You have no excuse to live a lot closer than I do. Saturday, I visited Monticello, the home of the author of the Declaration of Independence. You guys heard of that?
Yep.
Also, the second governor of Virginia, the first secretary of state, the second vice president, the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. Do you think that those two Virginians would be happy that we happen to be here doing what we're doing now? They're probably rolling in their graves right now. Both of these men, like their brethren, just like them, had huge roles in creating the longest running experiment this planet has ever seen. A constitutional republic that they call the United States of America. It's on us to keep it that way. They knew that if they were able to motivate the colonies, that their dream of a free country had a chance. They knew that if they could keep those colonists determined, they could defeat tyranny, the strongest army and navy in the world. Just a bunch of farmers with some muskets. They knew that if Americans did not stand together in solidarity, then the whole idea that we were endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, among those being life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, would go down the drain and not get passed down to the next generation. Almost 250 years ago, these brilliant men knew that we had to fight tyranny at every single step and couldn't give an inch. But we're here again. 4 years ago, tens of thousands of American patriots stood right where we are right now. Some estimates said 75,000 folks. Not a single incident. They left it clear that when they showed up, we didn't need the police, we didn't need drones, we didn't need helicopters, none of it. We are not the problem. The criminals are. Those signs aren't going to stop any criminal from walking onto this area right here. None of it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Hey guys, let me hear you if you were here 4 years ago. Let me hear you. Let me hear you if you think that other people who don't think the same way as we still have their right to disagree. That's called patriotism, y'all. And patriotism is amazing. It's a huge statement that you all made 4 years ago. Now, all the clubs, if we were doing this, they'd be down here locking these people up, but because it's gun owners, they're going to stand there with their hands in the pockets. It's okay. But what happened is 4 years ago, the delegates here who were anti-gun, anti-American, anti-freedom, they realized that they can't protect them. There's a hornet right here. But once again, we're here at the Virginia State Capitol, surrounded by local state Capitol Police. And I'm here to tell you that there's probably a few feds that in. We're here using our First Amendment right, free speech, and assembly. Right, there's like 54 cops here, but the most of them here, Joe, that's fine. That is 100% irrefutable proof that we are not the problem. And like I said, we're here again 4 years after they realized that they had screwed up. We're surrounded by police because they thought we were going to do what she did. But that's her right. But we're not the problems, y'all. And we're here to ensure that Washington, Jefferson, and many others can sacrifice everything for us. Here. Percent tax on guns and ammunition, so they can use our Second Amendment money to take away our right by using it for a gun violence intervention program. They want to require a 3-day waiting period to purchase firearms. USCCA certified firearms
So since she threatened to kick you in the balls, you're gonna press charges.
They want to be government control because government fixes everything. They want to prohibit concealed carry in restaurants that just happen to serve alcohol.
Oh, she won't be
They want
gone.
to ban semi-automatic rifles and magazines that hold more than 10 rounds because that makes you John Wick. I didn't realize that. They want to make semi-automatic rifle possession. It's amazing. They want to ban carry in hospitals, emergency rooms, and other places that provide mental health and developmental services. They want to make unserialized guns illegal. Now get this, even laws before the Gun Control Act of 1968. People live in a home where someone just happened to be the subject of an unconstitutional red flag gun confiscation. They even want to expand that gun confiscation. And more. There's more. I just got too mad and I threw my phone when I was writing that. Contact your legislators. No matter where you live in the state, a phone works. An email works. Talking to friends at work works. Spreading the word in your neighborhood, in your church, in your community works. And that's what we need. People to get involved. It's your time to stand shoulder to shoulder with your American patriots here in Virginia in solidarity. Why? Because we need you. Why? Because Virginia needs you. Why? Because your children and your grandchildren need you so that we can pass on freedom to the next generation. Watching America right now like never before. Are we going to be a free country or are we going to be communist? Things like this make the decision, y'all. Please get involved. The people in that building, and the men and women surrounding us at this event today, even those ones who are far behind me, and the ones
Something rubs off quick.
they all took an oath to protect and defend the United States Constitution at all costs. Yet we're here again. They took that oath, and every single one of these bills is a direct violation of our United States Constitution, our Virginia Constitution, and your unalienable right given to us by our Creator to be free. We don't get our rights from people in a shiny white building.
Not a single one of those bills, not a single one of those folks walking in circles will stop anybody from walking past a sign who's doing criminal acts. Criminals are criminals. That's actually part of the definition if you look it up. Now, I want to add that I was in law enforcement for more than decades. Don't hold it against me. I always said I was the most constitutional cop to lace them up, and it got me into a lot of trouble with guys in the station. But you need to know, especially the law enforcement folks, they need to know that their oath means something. I took 2 oaths, one with the United States Navy and one as a law enforcement officer. My oath still stands today. I will protect and defend at all costs. And no tyranny can be carried out if law enforcement doesn't do it. Because delegates aren't coming to kick your door in. That would be fun. All they need to do is stand with the Constitution, and the rest will take care of itself. We're at a crossroads in this country's history, y'all. We've already strayed way too far from what the Founding Fathers had established. Now is the time to take back control of government. Not just this government, all government. From school board meetings, where it's been injected with wokeness and craziness, all the way up to DC. We the people have the power. We the people are their bosses. We the people have backed off for far too long. Get involved. I hope that you will get determined. I hope that you will get motivated, and I hope that you will stand with everybody else in solidarity. The time is now. Make your voices heard. Guys and gals, I hope you want to go in the buildings and speak with your delegates. That's why you're here. They absolutely need to hear from you. They hear from the groups like Moms Demand Action and Every Town for Gun Safety. They're busting by the thousands. The problem is most of us have jobs and we don't get paid to travel in buses. Please take the time to ensure your children's freedom and go in and tell these folks to back down. Thank you all for coming to the Virginia Citizens Defense League 21st Lobby Day, and I hope that I can see you at the 22nd Lobby Day. We the people, y'all, never forget it. Be safe, stay vigilant, and carry a gun to keep you, your friends, your family, and your community safe. Folks died for that. Thank you.
Next, we have somebody that has fought very hard in the General Assembly to do a lot of what Jared was talking about protecting our right, living up to his oath, and putting in some great powerful bills, and being one hell of a speaker. And that's Nick Freitas, Delegate Nick Freitas.
Hey, listen, I don't got a lot of time, but I want to first and foremost thank you all for being out here. I really want to tell you how much I appreciate, how much my colleagues appreciate. When you guys come down, it's always the same thing. You're polite, you're professional, you go around, you allow other people to speak with different points of view. You can see that we had one demonstration of somebody that was all about coming down into an area that you reserved in order to try to disrupt what you were doing. I've never seen you guys do that to other groups. All right? Here's what this really comes down to. And I hope anybody that's listening to this, I understand that this group primarily is going to agree with everything I'm about to say. But what I'm hoping is anybody that is confused about why this issue is so important to us, I hope this at least assists on some level, because there's this idea that Americans, Virginians, whoever it is, we're just obsessed with guns. When in reality, if you actually look at the philosophy behind why we're here, what we're truly obsessed with is the idea of individual liberty and personal responsibility. When you look at the Second Amendment, I get in constant debates with people that want to say, but it says a well-regulated militia, Nick, a well-regulated militia. Like, okay, do you know why it says that? It says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. See, the founders recognized a couple of things within the Second Amendment and crafted it very specifically that way for a couple of reasons. One, our founders universally recognized the right of an individual, the right of a free person to be able to defend themselves and their families. But they also recognized it was actually necessary to the security of a free state. That you can't have a free country ultimately if the citizens in that country are completely dependent upon the government for their protection. So the Second Amendment, Article 1, Section 13 of the Virginia Constitution is not about hunting, it's not about gun collecting, it's not about any of that. It is so much deeper because it is that fundamental recognition that if you want to be free, and if you want to live in a free country, then yes, you as a citizen do need to take personal responsibility, both for your family, both for your property, but also for the sort of country that you want to live in. And you can't completely outsource your defense to somebody else. You can't outsource the responsibility to protect your family to somebody else. And I think what this really comes down to is ultimately it's an issue of trust. Because I've been told so many times, whether I've spoke on that floor, whether I've gone on social media to discuss it, and every single time I've said, they want to confiscate firearms. And I get told repeatedly, Nick, you're lying. Nobody wants to take your guns. We just want common sense gun control. But then the moment they're in power, HB2 takes your guns. Effectively takes your guns. That's what it does. That's not me lying. That's not me reading into it. That's just reality. So here's the question. Should we trust when we get told nobody wants to take your firearms? Because the same people that are saying that are now trying to do it. And ultimately what this comes down to is this. It's Nick, trust us to provide for your security even though we lied to you about what we actually want to do. So why would I trust them? I shouldn't have any obligation to do so. Logically, I should not have any obligation to do so. Because if they want to point to the instances, the very, very, again, if we're talking about the entire population of the United States, if they want to point to the instances where a civilian uses a firearm for a nefarious purpose, can we then compare all the times governments have used firearms against unarmed populations for nefarious purposes? Does that get to factor into the equation at all as we look at this? As you ask us to hand over our means to be able to protect ourselves? I think it should. If we're going to make an intellectually honest and consistent argument. Because ultimately, and I think a lot of people understand this, and I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. In the United States, we have a proud tradition of civil disobedience when necessary. We're about to celebrate some of that civil disobedience today on Martin Luther King Day. And it needs to be understood that this isn't about us handing over a firearm or a magazine. This is about you telling us that you're going to take away our means to be able to provide for our own security as well as provide for a free state. And if you don't trust us to be able to provide for our security, then why in the hell should I trust you to provide it for me? Because ultimately, I know, we all know, it's not like law enforcement has the capability or even the obligation to post someone outside each of our houses to make sure that our property and our rights are preserved. They can't do that. And so if you're not going to do that, if you're not going to be responsible for my security, then what gives you any right to diminish my ability to provide for my own security? Again, this is just logical thinking. And the reason why it's so fragile right now is because, again, I'm getting to the point where I no longer trust, not that I ever really did, but I no longer trust the arguments that are being used to try to convince me for why it's okay for them to confiscate my property and to confiscate that property which is supposed to be constitutionally protected. So ultimately, here's what it comes down to. I'm a citizen. I'm not a subject. I'm not going to be a subject. I have sworn multiple oaths to defend my country, both as a soldier and as a legislator. I intend to stand by those oaths. I expect my fellow legislators to stand by those oaths. I expect everybody who has ever sworn one of those oaths to stand by those oaths. Because ultimately, that's what secures a free state. And the most unique thing about the American experiment is not democracy. Democracies have existed all throughout space and time. We are a federated constitutional republic that uses democratic processes. We respect those democratic processes. But I want to say this last part in closing. What this ultimately comes down to is the most unique thing about the American experiment was that we put our faith and trust in the individual citizen, not the state. And if we're gonna keep that, if we're gonna make sure that that's what is the reputation, if that what is the actual existence of the United States and what it means to be a citizen, then ultimately it's going to be on us. It's going to be on us to make sure that we do that. It's not a responsibility we can delegate to legislators. That's part of the process. It's not the totality of it. So make sure that you are defending your rights and that you are effectively advocating for them. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, we're on a hard stop. It's 11 o'clock, so we're done. But we have permission due to our annual picture. So I'd like you people with the banners in front, go ahead, face the bell tower. Everybody else, come on down here. Get on the sidewalk with your signs. We're going to do our annual Gun Save Lives picture. Crowd towards the bell tower. Crowd toward the bell tower.
I never did it. All right. So, said you could do rest.
Don't you got it?
All right. All right.
And I think I got reports that it was